Don't you love when a couple of girls get together and talk about their hearing aids?
Yeah.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Chantel, and I am here with my good friend Ginny. We are today doing part two of a follow-up from my friend getting her new hearing aids for the first time. And funny enough, we actually did this about a month ago, and I didn't record it. So we are back about a month later, which is kind of nice because I think a lot has transpired with you, Ginny, since then. Is that right?
It is.
And I can't wait to hear all about how life has been for you. So for any of you that are new to the channel, go back and watch the first episode. It explains what was the catalyst for Ginny recognizing her hearing loss, as well as her motivating factor for getting hearing aids. I can't wait to hear about everything.
Yay.
So, since we didn't record it last time, let's go back to when you had gone in and you actually had ordered your hearing aids, and then the next couple of visits maybe you had to the hearing aid center, and what happened in the first visit when you got them, and what happened maybe in any follow-up visits.
Yeah, and got fitted for them. The first thing I noticed is my own voice sounded pretty weird. I felt like I sounded like a transformer in my head. Hello, I thought, but your brain kind of adjusts to it. So in the beginning, and then after about less than 5 minutes, 5 minutes is an exaggeration. It just sounded normal. But and for the first, when did I get my hearing aids? I think I got them in July. And in the
Yeah.
summer, as an academic, I am way less structured than I am from August to May during the school year. And being less structured, it was difficult to start the habit, to reinforce the habit of wearing my hearing aids. I got them, and then I went on a road trip with my husband to eat, promptly left him at home. It just, and I just found myself doing that a lot. And then just not sure, like, oh yeah, I want to wear them because I know that the interface is gathering data and analyzing, how they're amplifying and things like that. But I just wasn't wearing them consistently enough. So
Did you have any difference in feelings, like when you started wearing them? Like, was it really noticeable to you? Like, oh my gosh, these aren't in my ear. I feel them. I feel like they're comfortable. They're not comfortable.
yeah, they're just so freaking itchy in my ear. And, we spent a lot of time talking about my earwax last time. And I was like, this is, and it. Just felt uncomfortable.
In case you all didn't know, she has wet earwax. You can
Thank you
find
so
that
much.
out more in the last episode.
Thank you so much for catching everybody up on that very important detail about my life. But yes, it was really uncomfortable. And I just pull these out and, itch my ears and then stick them back in. And it's better now. Thank God. Like they said you would adjust. And I was like, this is never going to happen. I'm never going to adjust. I'm never not going to not notice this and feel uncomfortable. And sometimes I'd just be sitting there, like I was visiting my cousin, and she's like, what? And I was like, I have to itch my ears. And she's like, oh, all right. Yes, I've adjusted. Walking around the house with the hearing aids when they were new, I noticed like my feet make more noise on the wood floor than I realized, or
And is this when you had them on the lower calibrated level that you've even noticed it? Because I know you mentioned later, which you can go into in a bit, but yeah.
yes, even on the lower calibrated level. So right when she put him in, my technician said, look, we're going to just turn him up to about 70%, 75% for now. This is usual. Just give you a chance to adjust. And then we set up a follow-up appointment 1 month later, and she said, then we'll turn him up. And so I did not actually have my follow-up appointment until last Sunday. And
Oh.
yeah, so this is actually well timed. I'm walking around the house and I could really hear a lot of voices outside. And I was like, what is there, a sorority rush outside? And the wonderful lady that lives across the street had a whole bunch of friends over and they're just talking in their driveway. And I can really hear it, which was unusual. And as the school year started, first of all, I had to figure out where I was going to put my hearing aids so that finally moved my hearing aid recharger thing to my dresser top next to where I keep my rings and stuff. And I was like, oh, when I put
Oh,
on my rings and stuff, then I'll stick those in. And that works. Yay. It took a
that's a
long
great
time.
idea.
Yeah.
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 I think
Well, you
that's the
just,
biggest obstacle is a lot of people, I don't know, they just set them aside and then I don't know if they leave them in their office or where they're putting them. Different people just stick them in a drawer at night when they go to bed and then don't take them out again.
yeah.
So that's actually a great suggestion about leaving them somewhere where you're constantly putting on other things on a daily basis. But sorry, go on ahead.
No, I was forgetting until I put him there. Like I had him next to my bed before, and I would just pop out of bed and go start my day and not come back into my bedroom or toward my bed to see where, oh yeah, I need to put my hearing aids on. I just wasn't doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
now I
Mm-hmm.
remember. And teaching classes, what I'm learning is there's some things I don't hear just because I'm not listening. It's not about my hearing mechanisms. It's just I'm not paying attention. I'm not listening. So I'm like, oh, hearing aids aren't going to solve that. Hearing aids also don't solve um, my college students mumbling. Like I'm still not going to hear that. And there's one young man in my class who's lovely, and he has the most comforting timbre. Like his voice is just really comforting. It's just this deep baritone and it's just soft spoken. But I have a hard time, like all I hear is just this comforting rumble. I was having the hardest time hearing what he was saying. And I just kept on getting closer and closer. And finally, one day, I think it was last week, I just asked the other students in class, I was like, is it just me or can you guys hear him? And every other kid in the class said, yeah, we can hear him. It's like, I'm glad you can hear him, but I realized that and he was not offended. I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't hear you. And then I kept on like pointing at my hearing aids and trying to adjust it and turn it up and things like that. And anyway, last
On
Sunday,
that point, then, so this is after you got them to 100% level.
no, it was before.
Oh, it was before. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it
Okay.
was before. And now and he happened to work at a place in town where I didn't realize it, but I took my car to get something done. And I was like, oh, hey, and we were talking one on one and and I could hear him. So I realized it was just hard to hear his voice with a lot of background noise and stuff. And then in class this week, Tuesday and Thursday, I saw him and I said, I just want you to know I can totally hear you. My hearing aids have been cranked up. And he just gave me a big smile and said, thank you. I'm glad you came. Like he was pretty patient. And I was like, oh, this
So
is great.
so it did make a difference, like when you conversed in that spatial setting that was, because classrooms in like larger areas, I remember being in meetings, and if it was in a huge conference room, I would have to position myself in a way that I knew I could hear everybody
Yeah.
until, I did get my hearing aids. And now even like I'll be in church or somewhere and I'll just have to crank it up a little bit. Maybe the space
Yes.
is just too hollow, or I don't know how
Yeah.
else to put it, but
Or echoey, ringy, too bright. Actually, one day I got really frustrated with my students because they were all talking over it and they just had a lot of energy. There's tickets for the
yeah,
first football game of the year, home football game of the year, were on sale. So they're all logged in and they're all trying to, get their tickets. And there's just a lot of squirrely energy. And every time they kept on talking, it was like, I can't hear what anyone else is saying when we're trying to reconvene. And I was getting frustrated. And I didn't realize I was getting frustrated because I couldn't hear the students who were on task. And the next day I came back to class and said, I just want to acknowledge that I was getting frustrated with you all and I didn't understand why. And it's because when you're all talking, I can't hear. Like I couldn't hear what anyone else was saying. And and the students then they understood. I mean, at first they thought I was just trying to, I don't know, flex control or something and just be like, stop talking. And I was like, no, I'm asking you to stop talking so that we can hear other people in the room. And also, I
yeah.
just can't hear anything when you're talking. And that makes it really hard for me to run this class. So,
Now you're at 100%.
yes,
Is it what you expected?
no, it's more than I expected. And
Mm.
also, I know I noticed more profoundly, like at 70%, it just didn't make as much of a difference for me. I'm not sure if that's common or what. And but at 100%, like when I take my hearing aids out, everything just kind of it dampens, and I notice the difference now. I did not notice it as much when it was at 70, but now I notice.
It's basically like, when your brain is stimulated all day by sounds, and
Yeah,
then at night when you take them out, you're kind of like, I don't know, you can kind of decompress a little, and that's something you might notice more as you go, because in more different environments you're in at this normal new level for you, that you
yeah.
might find that that there is something nice about having it be a little calmer at a certain given time.
I also really appreciate that I can listen to my audiobook just directly into my hearing aids. I don't have to put, and the connection sometimes leaves a little to be desired. I'm just holding up my phone. And like, sometimes if I like have my phone in my pocket, I can only hear it out of one hearing aid and not both,
Oh.
So I think that
I
just,
think I think you need to tell your technician about that, because
oh,
they should
really?
both. Mhm. They
Well, I
should
will.
connect, especially if it's really close to you. Like
Really?
sometimes if,
Yeah.
if it's around like the other day, I was getting gas. My phone was inside my car, and then I went into the store, and I could hear my phone ringing in my ears, even though I was in the store. So you should have a longer, in my opinion, a longer range. And I don't know, maybe it's your phone, but or maybe try downloading the app again, or I don't know. But you
Yeah.
should have your connectivity should be stronger, if you ask me. But
That is great information. I also have really struggled with like being in class and the phone rings, and all of a sudden, I'm just like sitting there, talking to my students or monitoring. They do a lot of small group work, and all of a sudden, I'm like, because the phone. I don't know how to change the volume of the phone ring to my hearing aids, and it is so like brain rattling loud, and I got to put my phone on do not disturb when I'm in class or when I'm in meetings or something like that. And sometimes I still forget, and it is quite disruptive, but it's, another thing that I'm sure I will adjust to. I'll figure it out.
it hasn't been long.
No, it hasn't been long. Yeah, everything is louder. I mean, even sometimes like when I'm talking, I'm like, oh wow, that was loud. Like my voice is loud in my own ears. Like when I'm projecting, I'm like, oh, I didn't need to project that much. And I realize how loud I talk is absolutely a reflection of how poorly I could hear, you know, and and I am more acutely aware of that right now. Um, I find when I'm in brighter spaces with a lot of noise that I do turn on the filter, the noise or the background noise filter. It's necessary now. The sound of water running, dogs make sounds all the time, and I'm like, oh, I'm picking up on more of that than usual. Like,
Mhm.
um, which is good and bad, so I don't need to hear every sound my dogs make. And particularly the low lows and the high highs, because that's
Mm.
where I was not hearing as well, and so I mentioned that my student has that low, wonderful voice, and I was having a hard time hearing what, the enunciation within that low range. And yeah, so things that are higher, like water running, for example, is just kind of a little, higher up. And I noticed
Yeah.
that a little bit more too. Things feel more ringy, just everything's just a little brighter.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like that kind of tinny voice, tinny, or I can't explain it either, but yes, brighter is
Yeah.
a great way of describing it. And
Yeah.
I think that anybody who's new to getting hearing aids is going to experience that, because I don't know if it's actually the sounds or if your brain is just like, getting back
Mhm.
into the rhythm of hearing those things. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it mutes out, because I don't notice it as much as I did when I first got mine. Sometimes where I remember when I first got mine, it was like, wow, like it's really loud.
Kind of glad actually that we had a chance to re-record this because I don't think I noticed as much as profound a differences until they turned it up to 100, and
Mhm.
so what
I
our
remember
overall
saying to you
conversation.
too, like you're
Yeah.
going to notice a larger difference because you're actually addressing what you're losing
Hmm.
once it at 100%. That full amount, you're getting the full amount you're supposed to be
I
hearing at.
remember I remember you said that, and I was kind of glad because I was feeling just a little bit disappointed in the beginning. Like, oh God, I have to wear these stupid things, and it's hard to remember to put them in, and blah blah blah. And I just don't know. It just the difference was not as profound, and I just kind of expected it to be a bigger deal than it was, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really. And but I feel like it was important to go that month plus in my case because I was forgetting to put them in and didn't go to my first follow-up appointment. But it was important to go through that so that she could see the data and decide if she should adjust it up, and she did. And now I'm just like, oh, thank God, now I can feel it, and it feels worth the trouble of having these
Good.
again. Yeah, yeah. It took some time to adjust to, like my freaking ears felt so itchy on the inside. I hated it. But that has faded, and I'm very grateful that it has faded. Yeah.
Now your quality of life will be better. But I think see your hearing aids now. I mean,
Yeah.
I have mine in. Mine is like this. Whoops. Where's my camera?
Oh,
Over here.
yeah.
So
Mine are similar. Oh,
very similar. Of course, you got them
yeah.
both at Costco, but mine are like Kirkland ones. Yours are the better ones.
Oh, they
Oh,
are.
you have the thing on.
I do.
Okay, so I took mine off because I
My
don't like
dad,
that. That itches my ear.
yeah, my dad says that, yeah, we cut these off, and I was like, oh, well, I'm keeping them in because it was hard. It was just awkward for me to get them in, and that kind of helps me to feel like they lock in place. And I'm like, whatever.
They do.
That doesn't bother me. So I'm a,
Funny. Isn't
yeah,
that funny? That sensation in my ear was just would drive me crazy. And
yeah.
you can remove them yourself. You don't have to cut them. You could take them
Oh,
off temporarily if you want to. You take this little nub off the end,
oh, yeah. Okay.
and then you will see where. So if you take the nub off,
Oh,
you will
uh-huh.
see where there's like a plastic piece that goes all the way around this
Yes.
the microphone, and you could just slide that off, and put them on and off, whatever, if you want them or not. But you seem to be doing well with them, so that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Funny story though, I was at the local park and I was with my dog right
Yeah.
here, not too far from where I am right now.
Uh-huh.
And this man was in his car and he had the windows down and he was kind of like, dare I say, moaning or like saying stuff. And like everybody was kind of like, is this guy stable?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
is he okay? Is what's going on? And, it was like he was talking to something and I didn't know what. So I went over to him because I felt like he was scaring the children. And he was sitting in his car and I went over and I was like, hi, are you okay?
Yeah.
And turns out he is hearing impaired. And he had gigantic hearing aids, like really big ones, like
Mhm.
behind the earpiece was huge.
Yeah.
And we had the best conversation. He's like, yeah, I like sometimes talk to myself that I took my hearing aids out, so I wasn't realizing how loud I was.
Oh.
And he asked me if I knew sign language. And
Oh.
it was one of those times where I was like, wow, I really wish I knew sign language. And I go, no. And I said, but I can tell you my name. And I was saying my name, but he couldn't make it out because my name,
Yeah.
Chantel, he didn't have his hearing aids were charging, ironically,
Oh.
in
Oh.
his car charger. And he kept saying Michelle, whatever. And so I was like trying to spell it, using things. And then this young, maybe college age girl comes by and she knew letters. So she
Oh, yeah.
signed.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was one of those things where you're like, oh, he's just hearing impaired. Like he's just, like talking about stuff. And anyway, it was really the degree of differences of people with hearing loss so broad.
It's really
Yeah.
sweet that you had that moment of connection with that man and
Mm.
turned that situation where, people were like, what's up with that guy, to a moment of like connection. That was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was surprised too because I took out my hearing aids. I'm like, oh, I have them too. And
Yeah.
that is something not everybody has either. Is just to be able to be like, I totally get it. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I'm so glad I wasn't there because I would have been like, I only know how to say bad words in sign language. So,
I was like, thank you. Thank you's like the only one I really know, but I used to
oh,
know a few, and I was like, I knew them in sixth grade, when it was like cool to learn stuff like that. So is there anything you want to share, like, or any advice you want to give, or any feedback to somebody who might be getting their hearing aids right now and adjusting, or thinking about getting them, or whatever advice you think, Jen?
you have to wait to a little bit. Like for me, it didn't happen right away, and part of it was because I wasn't wearing them. Yeah, and I think that's common for some people to just not wear them. And so figure out where you need to put them so you remember to wear them. Do go to the follow-up appointment. It was a good 2 to 3 months before I did my follow-up appointment where she cranked these up. And once she did turn it up to 100, that sounds like it reminds me of Spinal Tap. Did she turn it all the way up to 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, once she did that, that's when I could really tell. And eventually your body will adjust. Your brain will adjust to the robotic sounds that you hear initially. And what you just said to me about going back to the hearing aid tech and saying, "Hey, when I have my phone in my pocket, I can't hear what's going on my, like I should be asking questions as opposed to going, I guess this is my life now. Like I don't want my phone to ring at 100% into my hearing aids. And it just hasn't occurred to me to ask about that. There's got to be a way to adjust that because that's one thing I'm not enjoying still, but maybe eventually I will adjust. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, we are at a good time where hearing aids are changing all the time too. So, and the reason I was like, yours are better is because yours are newer
yeah.
and are. So, Ginny ended up getting these Jabra hearing aids at Costco that were rated very high. I think one of the top ones or two on by Consumer Reports. So, if you're
Nice.
interested in learning more about her hearing aids, it's called Jabra, and I will put a comment down below of what those are. I have Kirkland, and I think that both of us will be like comparing notes more similarly because we didn't get ours necessarily from audiologists. Now, there are plenty of options out there in the hearing aid world between having Oticon is what I always used to have. I had one pair of Phonax once, um, a Miracle Ear. I mean, you name it. There are like many hearing aid
Oh,
companies.
ear. I remember those ads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just met a
Yeah.
lady yesterday, and she was like, "Mine are Miracle Ear,"
Yeah.
and they're different spectrums of what they provide. I remember my audiologist in Santa Barbara was awesome because they carried, I don't remember, like 10, 15 different brands. And
Yeah.
the audiologist here in Montana that I first saw carried one,
Oh,
which basically made them a sales rep for that one brand.
interesting.
Didn't try to have me try any other ones and things like that. Jabra, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe it's Phonax, don't quote me on this, is owned by Oticon and Phonax now. So those high-end brands have discounted brands under them that are basically the same technology. They're just
Mhm.
serviced different because some are sold at audiologists, some are at technicians. So that's
Yeah.
something you may want to look into if you're exploring new hearing aids or getting them for the first time. I just thought I'd share that.
That's very helpful. And I can share because I happen to have my receipt right here
Oh,
because I guess I just keep it on my desk all the time. It's a Jabra Enhance Pro. Jabra Enhance Pro 30 Micro. That's what it is.
and do you mind sharing how much you spent on those?
I can. Because it's right here. Oh, the Pro pair plus charger was $1,699.99 at Costco.
That's great. Actually, I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, that's actually really, really good. You chose, because I have rechargeable ones, I have had battery ones in the
Yeah.
past. Is there a reason you chose one over the other?
I have small hearing ear
Oh,
canals.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and so these are the only ones that fit in my ears, like fit in the ear
Yeah.
canal. So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm going with that. So it was the most expensive option that they had at Costco, and it was also the smallest option that they had at Costco. So that's where I went with that.
Do you
The,
happen to have your charger with you or near you?
I'm, do you want me to go get it?
Do you mind?
It
I
looks
don't have mine.
identical to the one my father has, I noticed. So
Oh.
does it look like yours too?
No,
No.
I like it. Yours is sharp. Mine is white. It
Uh-huh.
says Kirkland across the top. So I mean, it's like total generic, like Costco, hello.
Yeah.
And it's like a big egg. You open it and you stick them side by side.
Oh,
It's not like a little suitcase like yours looks like. Like
yeah.
you're very cool. Okay. Love it. I like yours more. Now I have hearing aid envy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you again for taking the time. Hopefully, we can chat again in like maybe 6 months or so and see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what it's like going through the holidays when you travel, when you go to
Yes.
large experiences, whether it's a theater or
Oh,
games
yeah.
or anything like that, and like how you feel about having them, and if there's any new sounds you're recognizing that. Like for me, when I went to the ocean the first time after having them, I was like, I didn't hear the birds to this degree, and definitely did not hear the waves to this degree.
Oh,
Things like that.
I'm looking forward to hearing that. That'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Ginny.
Pleasure. Yay. Thank you, Chantel.
Yay. Mwah. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And obviously, I'd love it if you could subscribe. It really helps the channel. Hopefully, you gain some insight into getting hearing aids and what it's like for a newcomer to embark on that experience. Thank you. Bye.